Good morning everyone, welcome to the channel for today. This is a quick video, a bit of a question on this very long Saturday morning. The hours are dragging by. Obviously today 3 o'clock kickoff against Crystal Palace at St James's Park. Cannot wait for that. It feels like months since we last played a game. We'll see that 2-2 draw away to West Ham down in London. So I was thinking about this earlier and I thought I'd put it on the channel and just see if anyone responds, what questions, any answers, opinions. So obviously I did a little video on Sandro Tonali yesterday. Thank you to anyone who watched that. It's very, very likely that he's going to be banned for 12 to 18 months at least. Now, I imagine that ban will be coming into action in the next few weeks, maybe the next month or so. We know he's available for selection today. I don't think he'll start the game. I think Eddie will bench him, take a bit of the pressure off, see how the game's going. If the game's going well or to plan, he may bring him on with the hope and the expectation that the home crowd and the Geordie nation will give him a good reception and just make him feel like we're behind him. Which, despite him being the architect of this unfortunate scenario, we got to get behind him. You know, people battle with addiction in all walks of life, all different things, and I've never had a gambling addiction, as I said in my video yesterday, but from what I've heard and research and whatnot, it is a serious thing, so we're with him. But the attention will now turn to the January transfer window, and do we need to replace him? Now, I would say yes, but for what type of midfielder? You look at our midfield options in January. I'm talking about the central midfield now, not the wide players. If everyone's fit and firing come the end of the year, who have we got available? Obviously, Sandro Tonali, you can scratch him off. We've got Bruno Guimaraes, we've got Joe Linton, we've got Joe Willock, we've got Sean Longstaff, we've got Elliot Anderson, and we have Louis Miley. Now, that's 6 midfield players. 2 of them, although Elliot Anderson I think has done quite well this season so far, 2 of them you have to take off, really, Louis Miley and Elliot Anderson, because they are not Premier League proven. Now, neither is Sandro Tonali, but he's a proven player at the highest level. So do we need to replace him with someone of that ilk, of that standard, of that quality and of that level? I would say yes. Now, I would argue that the type of player we're looking for would be a defensive holding midfield player. So how many out-and-out holding midfield players have we got? I'd probably say none. Now, let's go through that. Let's explore that. Sean Longstaff has offered a lot of security and defensive protection since he came back into the side in the last 5-6 weeks. But he likes to get forward, and Eddie Howe has said many a time that he sees Sean Longstaff as a goal scorer midfielder. Please excuse the noise, I've got the washing machine on. The little boy here is full of beans, wanting to get involved. So Sean Longstaff has been, Eddie Howe has spoken about him as a goal scorer midfielder. He sees him as that sort of, I'm not saying he's compared him to, but that sort of maybe Frank Lampard style midfielder, someone who can arrive late in the box, and he certainly expects and hopes that Sean Longstaff will come up with some more goals as his Newcastle career progresses. So I would class him as a box-to-box midfield player in the old school style, or as seems to be the case, we go by numbers now. So I would class Sean Longstaff as an 8. And my argument is that perhaps we need to bring forward an experienced 6 to fill the hole left by Tonali, despite Tonali not being a 6 himself. Sean Longstaff's an 8. Box-to-box midfield player. Joe Linton, although his best work is done disrupting in the midfield and being a destructive tackling midfield player, again, he's an 8. He's got to be seen as an 8 because he drives through the midfield, he likes to get forward, and also he's a wing option or a forward option, which will become more and more valuable as the season progresses with Harvey Barnes out injured. And still, even with Harvey Barnes, you look at Barnes, Miggy, Gordon and Murphy, there are 4 out-and-out wide players. They're going to need to be bolstered by the likes of Joe Linton and Elliot Anderson. So again, Joe Linton is a number 8. Joe Willock very much a number 8. I'd say, if anything, despite him not scoring the amount of goals in the last couple of years that he did in his loan spell, I'd say he's the closest thing we've got in that midfield group to a number 10 as an attacking midfield player. He is on the ball one of the best players at the club. He's a solid, fantastic all-round football player. He can do a bit of everything. So again, possibly a 10, but more of an 8, because he can do everything. He can run, he can tackle, he can pass. Every facet of midfield play he's covered and he's got down. Bruno Guimaraes played as 6 in his early Newcastle career, but again, because he likes to get forward, pops up with the odd goal, his passing range, particularly when we're trying to break teams down in and around the edge of the box, we've seen his link-up play with Sean Longstaff and Kieran Trippier, with Miggy particularly on the right-hand side, has been fantastic. So again, number 8. Elliot Anderson, very similar to Joe Linton in the terms that he can be deployed wide and in the fit further up the pitch, but you can't really put so much pressure on his shoulders at this stage of his career, although he's played really well. But again, if you were going to play him in central midfield, he's that 8. He's not a sitting midfield player. He's another one who likes to get the ball, drive forward, play through the lines, etc. Louis Miley, I would say, is the closest thing we've got to a modern day defensive midfield player. Again, I apologise for the washing machine. He's not your classic old school, and if I think about just watching the Beckham documentary, the last of it last night, so you're looking at the players of Emerson at Real Madrid in that 06-07 season, Mamadou Diarra, Thomas Gravesen, Makelele, that sort of player. He's not that. He's more of your Sergio Busquets style defensive midfield player, in that he defends by keeping the ball. Again, he's started one game for Newcastle this season. Didn't go amazingly well, but that was against the best team in the world, so you've got to give him time. He is not someone I want to shoehorn into our midfield options, because he needs that time. He may progress and he may prove himself, but we don't want to have to thrust him into the action straight away. So we've got Sean Longstaff 8, Joe Linton is an 8, Bruno's an 8, Joe Willock is an 8/10, Sean Longstaff, forgive me if I've already said him, is an 8, Louis Miley possibly, Elliot Anderson further up the pitch. So do we need a defensive midfield player? Because if we get a solid starting quality defensive midfield player, that then allows, if injuries, because we're in a lot of competitions this season, that then allows Elliot Anderson to be played further up the pitch if needs be, Joe Linton to cover on the wing if needs be, and we're not losing anyone in midfield. We can play, say, player X alongside Bruno and Sean, and give them a license to go forward. Player X alongside Joe Willock and Bruno, giving them license to go forward, etc. So what do you guys think? I've not looked at any names. I haven't got anyone to say this is the man, but do you think we need to bring in a defensive midfield player, as I've sort of articulated in this argument, this video? Or would you like a slightly more attacking midfield player brought in and proper shoehorn someone like Bruno back, or Sean Longstaff back, or play Joe Linton at the base of the midfield? What do you think? Thank you for watching the video. Please like, comment, subscribe if you haven't done so already. There's a lot of people who haven't. No one's watching these videos, but I'm trying. What do you think? Cheers.